Hello everyone, my name is Christian Swenson. I thought I'd do another video about autism and my experience of autism and what autism means to me and what it's like for me and what my world is like. And I thought I'd begin or focus today on the concept of seeking and finding. There's a concept in Christianity, it's, seek and you will find. And if you seek for something, you will find it. Now, I'm a Christian. My name is Christian, but I'm a Christian, but that's not really relevant. What I think is relevant is that, at least for autistic people, at least for me, we never find what we're looking for as autistic people. Let me give an example. I often am told to go look for such and such thing. Go, like my wife will tell me to, Christian, go get the hammer, go get the screwdriver, and I'll go look for it. And I'll have a very specific image in my head of what the screwdriver is that she's looking for. Of course, that's not really what screwdriver she's looking for. It's a very specific image. It's a very precise image that doesn't really correlate to reality. So the screwdriver could be right in front of my face and I wouldn't see it because it's not what I'm looking for. And because what I'm looking for doesn't exist, I never find it. But, first let me give another example. So I could maybe be looking for a book, and I have this very precise image of the book, and I can't find it because the image is too precise. There's a fantastic book called Mind of a Mnemonist. So a mnemonist, let me write it for you. Mind of a Mnemonist. I have a chalkboard, by the way. It's about someone who probably had autism in Soviet Russia. I think it's by the psychologist Alexander Luria. It's just this autistic savant guy who could remember everything. But for him, memory was like vision. It was like if he could remember something because he could see it. He used something like a memory palace to kind of locate it. But if he saw it incorrectly, and he had to imagine things very precisely, he wouldn't be able to remember it. And so he was a victim of being too concrete. He was too concrete for reality. We tend to think reality is concrete, but, is a book concrete? Well, this book is concrete, but what about books in general? To find that this is a book, I have to realize that this is not just this book. It's not just a short book that looks blue and has this writing on it. It's a book. And books can look all sorts of different ways. And I find that autistic people tend to find it hard to generalize. And because to find something that you're looking for means not knowing exactly what it is before you find it, you need to generalize to find things. But it's hard for me to find things for that reason. Don't get me wrong, I can be really abstract. I can think amazing thoughts, but it's hard for me to relate those thoughts to the concrete things. So I see the chess set right here, and it's hard for me to actually think about that as a chess set. Unless I'm talking to someone, I tend to think, I don't even think at all, I just see it. I don't even reflect on it unless I actively choose to do so. I don't see it as a chess set. I see it as a brown and white thing. But there's a corollary. There's something that goes along with this idea that autistic people can never find what they're looking for. It means that you were always given what you didn't look for, which means you're always surprised. Now, so it means you're kind of disoriented in the one sense. It means that, wait a minute, I can't find what I'm looking for. And this includes my own body, by the way. It feels like my body's always new. When I look in the mirror, it's always like, oh, that's a new thing. I'm surprised by it, and I can never find what I'm looking for. But my body is always new. The world is always new. It's always surprising. And I don't get stuck in patterns of thought that other people tend to get stuck in. The greenness is always fresh. The whiteness is always pure, etc., etc. And so the two twin principles here are that, one, it's like I'm always shooting an arrow and missing, but my arrow lands in all sorts of different places. I can always shoot an arrow, and it's always missing the target. I can never miss the target, but I discover things that aren't the target. Now, isn't that interesting? Now, it's a little bit more complicated than that. It's more like, and this is going to maybe muddy the metaphor a little bit. When I'm shooting the arrow, it's like I have a very precise idea of where the target's going to be. But that precision in the idea of where it's going to be, that image of the screwdriver that's exactly this image, means that it's either this or nothing. There's no variability, there's no flexibility, at least in this sense. And so you tend to find that, oh, if it's not here, then it might as well be anywhere. And so you have to get exactly the right thing or you don't get it at all. And it tends to mean we don't get it at all. But again, it means that we never find what we're looking for, but we always are given what we didn't look for. Now, isn't that interesting? It means the world is always a gift. It means the world is always new, surprising, novel. The world is always showing us its unworn side. I guess that's why, we tend to feel like, oh, we need to have this rigidity. But this rigidity, like I need to have the furniture in the same way, I need to do these things at the same time. It's ensuring that we will never find what we're looking for, because the rigidity that we're given excludes life, and it excludes what we end up finding. It's a bit like, how do I put this? It's a bit like someone, well, what it is it's someone constantly looking for what they end up not, constantly failing to look for what they end up finding. See, that's the thing, is if I can never find what I'm looking for, it's not because the thing isn't there, it's because my image of what I'm looking for doesn't exist. This precise screwdriver, this precise cup, this precise book with this shape, it doesn't exist. It's too precise. But if I were to find cup in general, if I were to look for cup in general, then I could find it. But because I look for too specific cup that doesn't exist, I never find it, but find all the other cups by surprise. The narrowness of the looking and the wideness of the finding should be something more like this. I think that's what it is for neurotypical people. But I think there are some benefits to this very precise, narrow looking and this wide opening. It means we see things others don't. It means we notice things that others don't notice. I remember watching an episode of Community where Abed, the guy on the spectrum in the show, is noticing things around campus. He knows the Secret Service is there. And then, what's his name? Jeff says, oh, Abed, when will your version of reality come out on Blu-ray? I think that's exactly right. We see the reality of the world because we're not looking for it. We see the reality of the world because our image of reality is so palpably false, even though we think it's true, that it can never find it. But in the space left open by us not finding it, the world streams in. It's like I don't find the right screwdriver, but the things I wasn't going to look for anyway show themselves to me. This is all terribly abstract, but it's really this gesture. I look for something that isn't there, but because I look for something that isn't there, everything that I wouldn't have looked for anyway shows itself to me. It's like we empty ourselves because our image of reality is too specific, too narrow, but we are filled with the reality that we didn't look for. Whereas I think most people tend to look and find. I could be wrong, obviously. I could be idealizing a perspective that I don't have. But I think this is a useful idea. The idea that we never find what we're looking for, and we always find what we aren't looking for. And that's disorienting, but it's also wonderful. full of wonder. We are filled with wonder. So there you go. Talk to you later. Bye.